Hey, what is up, my people? This is your boy Vanara Scott, the Killer Queen himself. It is December the 10th, 2024 to him. Today, I have a very, very special episode. Now, this episode will not replace the episode for this Friday. It will still go on as planned. But when people have a specially requested topic, I always accommodate. So this time, we will be speaking on the probability of God's existence. Today, I am joined by, let me put my guest name up here. Um, Sir, if you could, I'm having trouble pronouncing your name. He is from the Sikari of Memphis. Sir, if you can say your name for us, please. Hold on. There we go. Excuse me, sir. Okay. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Okay, hold on 1 second. You guys, hold on 1 second. Um, Looks like we're. Give me 1 second, guys. We're trying out something new here. So once we work out the bugs, then we will be okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. Can everybody hear me? I'm going on Facebook right quick to make sure everybody can hear me. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm not hearing my guest. That's what I'm not hearing. Because we're doing a screen share, as you guys can see. The Sicarii of Memphis. I'm not exactly sure. This is the first time I've been doing this. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, I'm sure it's something simple based on my personal ignorance. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm absolutely positively sure it's me. Okay. Not exactly sure where there's no sound. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. All right, guys. I am streaming. I'm checking comments. So if you guys can hear my guest, please let me know. Because I'm not hearing anything. All right? Hello. I'm staying on, guys. So, okay. So, guys, just hold on 1 minute. Just hold on 1 minute until we figure this one out. Am I on mute or something? Okay. This is not mute. Okay. I'm just not getting any sound. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay. What is going on today? Oh. If you're watching, please hold on. We're just having technical difficulties. All right, just give me 1 second. All right, let's see if they're sending me any messages or anything. Okay. So this is an audio call going on. Maybe we could do it that way. Let me see. Hold on. Join. Gentlemen.
That's our main giant. So I'm on that giant. Is anybody else on there? Because it just booted me out. Are you on there? Oh, my fault, cuz. I'm actually logging in my I
I tried to join as a guest, but I guess it automatically logged me in. My phone. Yeah. Logged me in and blew me out.
Gentlemen, I'm still going live. I just cannot get sound. It's sharing the screen. I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
Oh, we got you, brother. We just haven't added you to the live stream yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Get my charger where y'all at that.
All right, hopefully this shit is not locked. Okay, there we go. All right, how I change my my profile picture here? Because all I see is audio and the camera.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, that's my
Okay.
Oh Lord.
You guys see what we're going through right here. So give me a minute if you are watching. Give me a
Killian.
Sir?
I'm gonna call you right back.
Yes, sir. All right. These extremely intelligent individuals are running across a little bit of technical difficulties. So please give them a minute. Give them a minuet. Okay. So if anybody, while we're waiting on these gentlemen, if any of you have any thing that you would like to add to this discussion, let me know right now. Put your comments in the section below. I want to hear you guys. All right. So just please be patient, guys. Please be patient. These gentlemen will figure out. Like I said, I could talk to you guys, and if you want to join this discussion, the link is in the description in this podcast. So, if you don't see it and you are watching me on Facebook, all you have to do is go to the post and see the link. Okay, let me see. Is this the gentleman again? All right, tap to return to call. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Let me see if okay. You're on the phone. I can't get you on the podcast itself, or at least on my podcast.
No, I didn't join your podcast.
Okay. And if I share the screen, there should still be sound, correct?
Sir?
Well, I'm sure my guests can hear you guys. If you guys want to talk through the phone, I'm sure they can hear you through the laptop which I'm streaming from. So we could do it that way. It doesn't have to be through the computer.
I don't know how that would work quality wise.
Okay, now I see you.
I don't see you on here.
You don't see.
All right, Khan.
Okay.
Shalom.
I got
Y'all
you.
can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me?
Hold on, let me turn this one off.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. Saint, Yar, Yar, Saint Yar. Can you hear me?
Just trying to make sure that people can hear. Let me put this up on my phone real quick.
Saint, I can hear you. I can hear you. Let's see. I can hear you. Let's see. Yep. Give us 1 second, guys.
Okay, Khan. All right, come on. So like it, y'all. So right, we getting it going, running a little behind, but not too far behind. Right. As y'all can see in the title, we're having a
Can you hear me?
godly discussion. I'll put it like that: a godly discussion in regards to does God exist? We have our brother in the back chat. Right. We have our brother in the back chat.
Hello?
We're gonna add him on here.
Hello?
In just a second, we just wanted to let the people, flow in, things of that nature. Right?
Hello?
Want the people to come in here. Again, this is a godly discussion, man. Let's keep it cool, cordial, brotherly, and etc. While we had this discussion, we already got scoffers in here. That's crazy. But, God is good. God is good. Most definitely, God is good. So let's get the brother on here. So, but first and foremost, we want to say Kahala Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai, right? Let's say all praise to the Heavenly Father, who the world knows is Yahweh or Jehovah, real name Yahweh, and we do so on the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ.
I don't think they can hear me.
We are the
They can hear them,
Sakari,
so
Hebrew Israelites, right? We are the Sakari, Hebrew Israelites.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can hear Saint Yayar Kodam. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Well, at least I can hear you. And I think they can hear me on my, yeah, they can hear you as well. So let me turn this off.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can
So
hear
it looks
you
like we are on track. So, yes, sir. It is a pleasure to be on you guys' podcast. God, it was so glad we could finally get the technical difficulties out of the way. All right. So, as I mentioned before, my name is Vanara Scott, Killer Crane Productions. I am in collaboration today with the Killer Crane Speaks On with the, is it pronounced the Sakari Warriors?
Sakari. Yes.
Sakari.
Yes, sir. So I guess my first question: who are the Sakari Warriors? Now,
Hold on. First, before we get into that,
okay,
for our audience, is clarification. I understand you have a certain viewpoint of what an atheist is and things like that. So I wanted you to clarify first your standpoint on what an atheist is, and things like how you move about your own belief system, just for the audience.
Sure. Excellent question. I was going to get around to that too. Atheism is not a belief that no gods exist. It is it's actually a default position, but it is I don't want to say rejection. That kind of looks derogatory. It is basically saying a person has not accepted a belief in any type of deity. Now, to further clarify, it has nothing to do with magic. An atheist can believe in magic. They can believe in what do you call that? Where you believe in Libra and Capricorn, zodiac signs. They can believe in all of that. It's just down to whether a deity exists. And what's defined as a deity was going to be the first question that I asked. So just to clarify, it is a single position on one thing. Do you accept, not reject, do you accept the idea that any type of deity exists? So I hope that clarified.
Okay.
Yeah, they clarified. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
Right, we on the other side. We do believe there is a God, for the audience sake. Right, we do believe there is a Most High God, a Almighty God, Yahweh, as we would say, right, according to the Paleo Hebrew. And we also believe there are many gods as well, but it's only one Most High God or Almighty God, but it's other gods that exist as well that are subservient even to him, right?
They saying you muted, but
I'm muted.
yeah, I can hear you on here, but they saying they can't hear you.
I can hear you.
I can-
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, you muted on the YouTube.
I'm muted on the YouTube.
Yeah, I think we all might be muted on that job.
Let me see.
No, I can hear myself. I just can't hear you on the YouTube. Yeah, I can hear you on here, but they saying they can't.
Okay, come. Let me file back out, and then I'm gonna join back in. Go ahead, Godam. I'm finna join back in. Okay,
Come on, it might kick me out if you leave though. Oh, never mind. I'm still here.
Out, and then I'm gonna join
So-
back in. Go ahead, Godam.
On my YouTube channel, it's good. So,
It might just be our devices then, maybe, possibly.
well, that's fine. I guess until he gets back.
I'll explain our position though.
Okay,
So
sure.
basically, we believe in something called monolatrism. Now I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay.
To get the exact definition. All right. Oh, I can't put my screen on the actual thing until Yayar gets back, but I'm gonna read it. And for your audience, you can also pull it up. So monolatrism. This is the AI overview. I'm gonna go to newworldencyclopedia.org since it's more official.
Sure.
It says, on my screen here. You can see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it says monolatrism or monolatry. Then it has the Greek and things like that. Is defined as the recognition of the existence of many gods, but with the consistent worship of only one deity. In contrast to monotheism, monolatry accepts the existence of other gods. In contrast to henotheism, it regards only one God as worthy of worship. Right? So we, from a Hebraic perspective, right?
Mhm.
In the Bible, there is no such thing as monotheistic belief, right? And I'm gonna show you for clarification. This is Blue Letter Bible. This is where we go to look at Greek and Hebrew manuscripts. So we just look at the word God, because I know this is one of your points. That there's no universal definition for God, what God is, and things like this, right? But from a Hebraic standpoint, this is what the word God simply means, right? H430, Elohim. And literally all it means is rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods with an S, plural intensive, right? So God, or Elohim rather, is, which appears mostly throughout the Bible, as you can see 2,000 times, right?
Okay.
This word God is a plural word, right?
Okay.
In reference to many gods, and gods, it just means power, right? God like one, divine ones, angels, things like this, right? So when we're talking about specifically though, what we're going to be talking about is the Most High God, right?
Okay.
Or who most people call Yahweh, right?
Okay.
That's our standpoint of what of deities and gods and things of that nature.
Oh, okay. So let me ask a question. Is there a difference between this belief system that you have and the term polytheism?
Polytheism?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, polytheism is the worship of many gods. Hold on, let me see.
Well,
Polytheism.
it's the belief in many gods. You don't have to worship them all.
Polytheism is the belief in and worship of more than one God. So no, I would not say it is polytheism. But monolatrism, we recognize there are many gods, right?
Okay.
But we only worship one God. We only worship one God.
Okay.
Right? So we're not going to deny the existence of, let's say, somebody else's God. We're not going to say necessarily they don't exist, but we're not going to worship their gods.
Ah, okay. So how
Yeah.
did these other gods come to be about?
They were created, as far as my understanding goes, they were created just like everything else by the Most High God.
Okay. So were they created for a specific purpose? You know, like if you have Greek mythology or paganism, which believes that certain deities are over the spirits or over the ocean. Do you guys accept that as well?
Uh, hmm. I mean, there are gods of things. Like, for example, when you look at ancient uh mythology, when you look at ancient mythology, their gods, they were gods of certain things. Like I said, I'm not going to deny that those gods don't exist at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? Technically, yes, to an extent, yeah. But also, in addition, they're also gods were also created to be over nations and things like that. Like, when, for an example, in the Bible, you look at Daniel 10. Um, where is it? Prince. Let me look, Prince. You know, 1 second.
Sure, take your time.
Daniel 10. Boom. Now, one of the definitions when we look at that word God was angels,
Okay.
right? Here we go. So, boom, when you read Daniel 10 in context, it's talking about angels. I want to see, hold on, if I can. Greatly beloved, it's in for the first day. Deep sleep. No, it's after this. Is it? Barrel. Clothing millions, what golden Ephaz. I want to say it's this. So, boom. I'm going to start at 5. Then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire. So this is clearly a angel that's being described, right? So I'm gonna scroll on down, and then it says in verse 20, then said he, knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee, and I will return to fight with the prince of Persia. Now this prince is just talking about an angel. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia or Greece shall come. But I will shew thee that there is noted in the scripture of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things but Michael, your prince, or our angel, right? So these gods, angels, things like that, they're also, they're basically what makes the world run in a spiritual sense,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
I'm hoping y'all gets on here quickly. I don't want to continue without him.
There he is.
All right, y'all can hear me? Mic check, mic check.
Yes, sir. I hear you.
Okay, good. The chat can hear me as well. Can the chat hear me?
Yep.
Says in verse 20, then said he, knowest thou?
Can the chat hear me? Can the chat hear me? Put a 1 or put a sword. Y'all still can't hear me?
I can hear you. I can.
Okay, he
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I probably gotta close all the way out of this and then join back in like that. Bear with me real quick.
Take your time. Hmm. Okay. Y'all take your time. Take your time. Oh, the gentleman, has he left? Quadam, if I'm pronouncing your name correct, you're silenced for some reason. I cannot hear you.
My fault, I was on mute.
There we go.
Right. But
Okay.
I wish I could change the format. I don't like that I'm the only one on the screen. But my question to you is,
Sure.
what are your thoughts on prophecy or divine revelation, things of this nature?
Well,
Would that be evidence of a God?
okay. Which one would you like for me to answer first? Because those are two different things.
Okay, prophecy. Would prophetic vision, receiving prophetic vision and it coming to pass, would that be evidence of a God?
No. There are several reasons why certain things could be come to pass. Well, number one, a prophecy or any prediction that somebody has to be very specific, down to
Mhm.
the day, the time. It cannot be poetic, it cannot be metaphorical, because the more leniency you give, that's the more chance of something coming true. Or if somebody, like just say with Nostradamus's predictions, different people interpret different things in different ways. So,
Mhm.
and it's sometimes when it comes to prophecy, and I forgive me, I do not remember the individual whose name who came up with this. He said it's like taking a bow and arrow, letting it go, and hitting the broadside of a barn. And wherever you hit it, you draw the bullseye around there. And say, look, it hit where my target hit, and that's exactly how a lot of prophecies go. It's very vague. It doesn't give specific details. And even if somebody did get it true, it doesn't mean that a God created it. There's a million and one other explanations they could have guessed. If I get science fiction, if I can be science fictional right quick, it could have been that they time traveled. A time traveler could have told them certain things. I mean, they could have used their intelligence to decipher something that came true. So it's just like if we have a jar full of gumballs and somebody guessed the exact number. It doesn't mean that they're a god or they got that information from a god. They could have been just a lucky guess. You know what I'm saying? And the more time you give something and you're not specific, that, like I said, that gives more time for something to basically probably come true. So I have not seen anything that is specifically that has been specifically come to pass as far as like a prediction or a prophecy. And
So, uh,
Real quick, mic check, mic check, mic check. Just trying to see if I know y'all can hear me. I'm trying to see if the YouTube can hear me. I'm just trying to make sure that YouTube can hear me. If they can't hear me, then I'm gonna just go get my laptop, and then we should be good. If y'all can't hear me,
they can hear you on my YouTube channel.
they can.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
I can hear you on YouTube now.
Okay, all praise to the Most High. Salaki, y'all, for the technical difficulties. Forgive me. Right. Go ahead, Salaki, because I'm just now coming back in here, and after that, so y'all go ahead, and then I'll pick back up from where y'all was just leaving off.
Okay, so you said a few of your points were one, they usually don't be specific. Two, you can't leave it up to metaphors. I heard something about time travel. I don't know what that was about. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, throwaway.
Right, and things of this nature. So hypothetically, right?
Okay.
If somebody hundreds of years prior were to give you a detailed vision, which they said was prophetic, and everything they listed, all the specific details they listed came to pass, how would you feel about somebody making such a claim?
Well, of course, and let's just add a little bit more to it. Let's just say that they were it is legit. It isn't a document that's been forged or something like that. It's actually somebody that we can all agree that came from ancient times. And let's just say that they said within the 21st century there'll be a guy called Steve Jobs and the so-and-so president of the exact name of the United States. I mean, down to specifics. And they claimed all this. Like I said, there's millions of other possibilities other than a God. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, I'm not discounting a God, but I'm just saying that, like I said, the throwaway term that I gave was like somebody time traveled and, like in Back to the Future where he left that atlas back in the past and stuff like that. It could be something of that nature. And I know it sounds silly, But you got to understand from a mundane point of view, I don't see evidence of what somebody would call supernatural, and it would stretch the imagination to my point. And time travel would stretch the imagination for you as well, which you would interpret as ridiculous. But it's more mundanely possible or probable to me than a deity. So it could be time travel, it could be lucky guesses, it could be some of everything. You know what I'm saying? So I'd have to give a more detailed, specific example. You know what I'm saying? But it. Oh, and here's the thing, too, guys. I don't know is a perfectly good explanation, and it's the best explanation that you can give until you get an answer. Instead of jumping to say it may be a deity, not discounting a deity, but I'm just saying I don't know is the most honest answer that we can give.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna ask you how you feel about this then in the Bible.
Okay.
I should be able to share my screen. This is one of the more specific prophecies in the Bible.
Okay.
You can put my screen on the whatchamacallit, Yayor?
Okay.
Do it again real quick.
Y'all keep doing. I'm to cut this fan off. All right. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go. Now you can look this up on your computer
Sure.
to read as well. Where's Daniel chapter 9?
You said Daniel chapter 9.
Yes.
Well, which verse?
I'm starting at verse 24.
24. Sure.
Yes. Okay, there we go. So boom. Now for background. Right. For background, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to prophetic visions in the Bible, right?
Okay.
When it comes to days, they're not taken literally, and it's said that they're not taken literally by literally. This is Ezekiel 4:6. It says, "And when thou hast accomplished them, lie again on thy right side, and thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. I have appointed thee each day for a year." Right? So when you look at prophetic timelines as far as days and such go, they're not literal, but it's talking about each day is a year, right?
Okay.
So just for background on this.
Okay.
Right. So Daniel 9, rather, verse 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city. So now 70 weeks, this is 490 days. So that means it'll be 490 years, right? To finish the transgression and to make an end of sins and to make reconciliation for iniquity and bring in everlasting righteousness and to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. So it's talking about this period of 490 years, and it's gonna, I'm assuming, and it's gonna specify what's going to happen in these 490 years.
Okay.
So boom. Now for to get the date on when Daniel was written was the book. When did Daniel? Because he lived during the time of Babylon. Right. So this man lived from roughly 620 to 538 BC. Right. See this? So boom. Right.
Okay.
So that means he's talking about 400, damn near excuse my language, but almost 500 years in the future. Right. So verse 25, know therefore understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince. Of course, we understand this to be talking about who people call Jesus Christ, because that's, of course, the Messiah and the Prince, right? So by the time the commandment is starting at when the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem, that's when the commandment is given. Until that, from that starting point until the Messiah, the Prince, is supposed to come, is going to be 7 weeks. So that's what's the name? Hold on, fool.
Okay.
I can't do math. But look, it said it's 7 weeks, right? 7 times 7, right?
Okay.
No, not 7. 7 times 7 is 49. So that's 49 years, right?
Okay.
Shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks, right? So now this is 62 weeks. So this is 69 weeks that this is happening. So this, we take this 49. So 7 times 62 is this, and we'll just add 7. Let me add 49. Or 2 plus 49. So it's 483 years that this is supposed to happen, right?
Okay.
Shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times, right? So it's saying, so let's look at historically, right?
Okay.
When this happened, because if we can't see, all right, this actually happened in history, that means we would have to say it's invalid, right?
Okay.
So this is AI. I don't want to go to AI. This is BibleArchaeology.org. Are you comfortable with me using a more Christian source?
Yeah. Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Okay, cool. Where is it? Where is it? It said on the thing. I'll just go back. But it says 7 sets of 77 plus 62 sets of 7 will pass from the time the commandment is given to rebuild Jerusalem until a ruler, the anointed one, right? So this is Artaxerxes, right? He's the one who actually commanded the rebuilding of Jerusalem, right? Just like it says AI right here. And then it actually lists the sources over here, right? In the 20th year of Artaxerxes' reign, 445 or 444 BC, right? So this is the starting date, right? So roughly 483, I believe the number was. After that, that's when Christ will be on the scene, right?
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go into the Bible Hub. This is another source as well, right? Just for a visual.
Okay.
Where is it at? Timeline. 400. Where is it? All right, boom. 444 BC. Artaxerxes sends Nehemiah to Jerusalem, right? And of course, for context, or it says here, builders of the wall's name, then builders overcome ridicule. So this is when Daniel saying the timeline starts. It's saying this is the start time, right? So we look at 400. This is 444 BC,
Okay.
right? We look after that, 400 years later. Now there's a man on the scene who the world says is the Messiah, right? But boom, it continues, is more on that even than that, right? And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off. So this Messiah, he's going to die after 62 weeks or 400. What was it? 400 and what's the name? 62 times 7. 434 years, right? That's when he was going to die, right? So that's roughly 10 BC that this Messiah would be on the scene, right? But not for himself and the people of the prince that shall destroy the city. So after this prince or this Messiah is cut off, that's when the city is going to be destroyed. Jerusalem is going to be destroyed, and the sanctuary. The sanctuary is the temple. And the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. And he's specifically saying it's going to be destroyed in war, right? So what happened after Christ? Now I'm putting this into perspective because this is of course what I believe, right?
Mhm.
But when you look at 70 AD, right? The year 70 AD was marked. These are the sources again, right? But the year 70 AD was marked by the Roman siege and destruction of Jerusalem, a decisive event in the first Jewish-Roman war. So Christ, who most scholarship will say died around 30 AD, right? After he's cut off, then there's a war where Jerusalem gets destroyed, right? So far as looking, the details here are getting very specific, right? And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. So this is a period of 7 years. And in the midst of the week shall he cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. Now, of course, we know the sacrifice and things like that was done at the temple. So this is a period of 7 years. Let's look up the dates of the Roman Jewish War. Right?
Okay.
66. Hold on. First Roman Jewish War, my fault. 66 to 73 AD. This is literally 7 years, right? And what's in between 66 and 73 AD? It's 70 AD. So boom. So while this war going on, the temple is destroyed. That's what Daniel was saying. He's saying all this in 600 BC, right? Roughly 600 to like 580 BC, right? And for the overspreading of abominations shall he make it desolate, right? Talking about still the destruction of the temple, even until the consumption, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate, right? And abominations and things like that, right? When you look at what happened to the Jewish temple, or the Jews' temple rather, right? Titus Vespasian. I spell that dude name. Hold on, let me just do this. Zeus temple, right? There's some information. Temple of Zeus and Jeshurun. Yes, okay, yeah, the temple was destroyed. It was specifically sent the siege, which lasted 7 months. The Romans cut off the water. Secret attack by the Romans set fire to the Temple Mount, and the temple burned in early August. The Romans imposed a special tax on Jews known as the Jewish tax. To commemorate his victory, Titus was awarded a triumph. The Ark of Titus built at the end of this. Boom. No, I'm looking at something specific. Destroyed the temple, right? There's also sources where it gets into detail, right? Okay, they sacked the temple right here. ChristianityToday.com, another source, right? That they sacked the temple and things like that, right? So these are specific details about something that would happen 200 to 400 years after Daniel's time, right? So the details, unless you want to just throw everything to coincidence or time travel or whatever, right? It's not a very convincing argument because Daniel adds all these details. Okay, boom. This is a period of 490 years, right? There's going to be a man who the Old Testament says is the Messiah. He's going to come, right? Okay. He's going to end up dying. After he dies, there's going to be a war. And in the middle of that war, the temple is going to get destroyed and sacked and desecrated, right? So unless you want, I want to hear your rebuttal as to what could this possibly all mean?
Okay. A number of things actually. Number one, I got to say I really respect your calculated analysis of everything. I love it when people give specific details and know what they're talking about rather than just say rely on faith. Not saying, well, we'll get into whether faith is a good thing or not, but I do respect mathematical calculations. I do love math. Um, it is a bunch of information that would have to be given to me like on a paper so I could look at it and check behind it. Even if math was involved and I were to accept the math, I would have to go behind it like a peer-reviewed study and check behind it and make sure the math is good. If I were to accept the interpretations or the metaphors or the similes to the mathematical, like you said, this equals a year and such like that. There are some people who are, maybe accept the Bible that wouldn't accept your equilibrium to say that this equals a year or whatever. I would recommend, I'm not recommending this book, but I am. Two books, Who Wrote the Bible by Richard Elliott Friedman and Karen Armstrong. In order for me to believe the Old Testament or the New Testament, well, there's stuff in the Old Testament. You'd have to accept all the characters, have to accept that they existed, and you have to see it as a history book. But from a mundane viewpoint, most of the characters most of the books in the Bible are done by unknown authors. We don't know the exact time period. We don't have independent verification from any other source that these people actually existed other than the Bible. You can't say, well, the Bible says this, therefore, that's the reason why you should believe it. That's just like saying, well, the book of Scientology says this, so we should just believe the book of Scientology. There's a lot of, and I hate to get into a long thing, but basically, I don't see the Bible as a history book per se. So I'm not sure if I can take down every single word as if it was a direct quote from somebody, because we can't even know if those people actually existed.
Okay. I do have. You got something, Yayor?
No, go ahead. Sure. You can stop me. Mm-hmm.
I do. Go ahead with your thought.
Okay, cool. So the problem with that is the actual historicity, specifically with the book of Daniel. We can go into the other books, but specifically the book of Daniel, I have a source for that. Right? Let me pull it up right quick.
Okay. Now, was it written? Two questions. Was the book of Daniel written by Daniel, this character named Daniel?
The original, yes. Now, I will say,
okay,
because we are understanding the history of the Levant, you have to accept that many of the documents got destroyed. They ended up having to be translated into different languages and things like that. So the version of Daniel we do have is probably a later version than what Daniel actually wrote himself, right? But nevertheless, the details given the prophecy, because I didn't see no metaphors, no nothing. Everything was, besides from the days being years, that being the only figurative thing, nothing else was figurative. Everything was clearly stated upon table. But to further show the historicity of the book of Daniel, I have this one source right here.
Okay.
Let me share my screen again. I can share my screen. Okay, boom. This is a source called drpaul.org, Jews, Alexander the Great in the Bible Prophecy, right? This is coming from Jewish sources of when Alexander came down to the Levant, right? I think it starts here. No, it starts up. No. Or does it start down? Oh, let me see. My fault. Let me just do this. Daniel, teenager, boom. Let's go to Daniel chapter 8. Hold on. Yeah, you can go to your point while I find this.
No, you know what I'm saying? So with the information that was brought out to you, I'm not exactly sure like how you feel about the information that was brought out. Like, do you have a dissertation to disprove it or anything of that nature?
Well, the burden of proof is always on the person making the claim, and it's never somebody's duty to disprove something that somebody else has approved. You know what I'm saying? Because in order to say something is 100% doesn't exist, it would take doggone near all the knowledge of everything that has ever existed. So you can't disprove a negative. So I can't disprove that something didn't happen. None of us were there. My point is, it's like if you say this person existed, well, you have to prove they existed, and you say, well, they wrote this. Well, was it in their handwriting? If you say no, then was it their secretary's handwriting? If it was, you have to prove that that secretary existed and that they were connected with that person. But if you say it was a reinterpretation of a reinterpretation later on, that thins out the level of proof that this came from that specific person, and it could have come from many different sources. It's an anonymous source, so I can't take it as truth that this person actually wrote that or actually said that. You know, so that's where I am personally right now, and that comes to a lot of people in the Bible. There's very few people other than maybe Paul, the Apostle Paul. Maybe he wrote, you know, it's attributed to him, but a lot of figures, especially in the Old Testament, we have doggone near no way of knowing if those people actually wrote or said anything. So that's what I'm saying. The best proof is if we find a body of somebody and we find something that they wrote, we can test their handwriting, and then we see some other document they wrote in that handwriting. But if you say, well, it was later on an interpretation and it got lost and burnt, well, there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a lot of it comes down to faith factors, which I don't want to get into yet.
Brother. If I may, Yayar.
Go ahead. Go. So
Okay, for one, your claim, it doesn't make any sense, right? Because if we apply that to all logic in all history, period, right? We don't know if Napoleon existed. We don't know if Julius Caesar existed.
Sure.
Right? Then we would have to go find their dead body, test their handwriting to see if the books that are attributed to them, right, how they wrote about their conquest and things of that nature. We would have to say, oh, it's false. It's not real. But that we're not, for one, the reason I'm proving the historicity of the book of Daniel is to show you that, for one, this can't be forged after the fact, right? So that means he had to have existed in the date of Babylon. This had to have been a precise prophecy given, right? Therefore, this is something supernatural that's happening, right? We're not talking about the historicity of other characters, because then that gets into a completely different topic, right? But we can't discuss that on another live. But I did find my source that I actually wanted, right? I have pulled up the wrong junk. Here we go. So boom, this is BibleStudy.org, right? In short, it's Alexander the Great visits Jerusalem. Okay. So it talks about his sieges of Tyre and Gaza, but then it talks about his journey to Jerusalem. Now, Alexander, when he had taken Gaza, made haste to go to Jerusalem. Jaddua, the priest, the high priest, when he heard that, was in an agony and under terror, as not knowing how he should meet the Macedonians, since the king was displeased at his foregoing disobedience. He, Jaddua, therefore ordained that the people should make supplications and should join him in offering sacrifice to God, whom he besought to protect that nation and to deliver them from the perils that were coming upon them. Whereupon God warned him in a dream, which came. This is coming from Jew sources, by the way. But continuing, I'm gonna keep going. I'm just go down. I ain't gonna lie. That's a lot of reading. So Daniel's prophecies. And when he, Alexander, had given the high priest his right hand, the priest ran along by him, and he came into the city. And when he came into the temple, he offered sacrifice to God according to the high priest's direction, and magnificently treated both the high priest and the priests. And when the book of Daniel was shown him, wherein Daniel declared that one of the Greeks should destroy the empire of the Persians, he supposed that himself was the person intended. And as he was then glad, he dismissed the multitude of the present, The next day, he called them to him and bid them ask what favors they displeased him. So boom, it keeps going. But this is showing that Daniel's writings, Daniel's prophecies existed prior to events actually happening, right? Specifically, again, events where the Messiah and things like that. So this one shows, even if you don't believe in Daniel existed, there was somebody with a prophetic vision who believed in the God of the Hebrews, who was saying, I got this prophetic vision from him, right? Everything took place as it was said it would happen, things of this nature. And there's people outside of, for example, Alexander, there's people outside of our culture, I believe, who are seeing things written about them and things like this, right? Now, Alexander, he ruled, hold on, let me see. When did Alexander come to the Levant? It says Alexander the Great conquered the Levant in 332 BCE. So this is, Daniel was writing this stuff 300 years before Alexander was even there. But when Alexander arrived, the high priest at the time brought him the scroll, the writings of Daniel, and was like, this is talking about one of the Greeks conquering Persia. So unless you could say somebody accurately predicted from Babylon to Persia, then to Greece, that Greece would end up overtaking Persia 300 years in advance, your argument or your idea of disbelief is not what's the word? It's not credible, because at that point you're disbelieving just to believe when the evidence is right in front of your face. It's like you're looking at a text with a magnifying glass and you're saying, I can't read what that says.
Okay.
Because it don't, just to add on, it doesn't necessarily, let's say Daniel didn't exist and the book was just accredited to Daniel. It's more so about what's being said in the prophecy and pinpointing like the details of this said prophecy to prove that God exists we're not trying to prove that Daniel exists. We're trying to prove that God exists. So now we have to go through these prophecies to understand and see, okay, well, how can we prove it and show it? The brother just gave a dissertation or an exhortation on how that's being shown or being proven that God does exist. Again, let's say Daniel didn't exist. Whoever wrote it gave a detailed example of an event that's supposed to happen in time. And it happened exactly when it was supposed to happen.
Okay.
How did let's say this mortal man know that to a T? That's what we're trying to figure out.
Okay. A number of things. I'm gonna go back to the point the brother was trying to make earlier. Yes, when none of us were there, and sometimes we don't have the bodies, and sometimes we don't have the exact signature. So I'm gonna give an example. Socrates. We have no verification that he ever existed. What we know about Socrates is through his students, I believe it was either Plato or Aristotle. However, with historical figures, even though we might have the body of these people or whatever, we still have other independent verification from other sources around there. But let's just put it this way. So we might have other people from other nations who have historical documents and come from credible scribes who wrote in a way which they are historically correct. And the way that they write these things is they don't say, well, and Daniel said, it's a way that his historical scribes write things. And the Bible isn't written like a historical scribe wrote them. It's more like, and this is not being derogatory, it's a book of mythology, which mythology just means an explanation. But I will say this, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So if you're saying that there was this prophet of God, well, you have to prove that God exists. And, that without that, the whole thing crumbles. Now, as far as this prophecy that was made, that website is very questionable. And it's a Christian website. It's not a neutral, mundane website. So I'd have to look at it. I have to do research behind it. I just can't say, well, this Christian website says that Alexander the Great visited so and so. It's just like when Zechariah Sitchin says that the ancient Sumerians said that the Anunnaki existed. Those are a lot of misinterpretations. So I have to check this website out myself. Like I said, and the people who wrote the New Testament probably wrote the Old Testament, and they probably fit the prophecies and wrote it around there. So
Hold on.
Wait a minute. For one,
Moving way too fast.
I asked you, brother. I said, do you mind me using Christian sources? And you said no. For the record,
you can. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. But I'm just saying, I don't believe that
you have a problem with it. But when I bring out a source
come on in.
that is showing evidence that these prophecies were actually written when history aligns them when they were written, now it's a problem.
No, what I'm saying is you can use,
And-
if you say I want to read Spider-Man to prove that Spider-Man existed, I say you can use it. I don't believe that Spider-Man existed, but you can use that. I'm not saying that everything that you say I'll believe. You're missing the point of that. I'm being respectful. Whatever you want to read, go ahead and read it. I'm not saying that I have to accept it.
Salaki. Y'all can hear me okay, right?
Come.
Okay, so let's just rewind right quick. For one, Yayar, we understand that Kodam Yala, is a handsome young man. We would like to even out the screen so we can see everybody. There you go. Secondly, how do I pronounce your first name, Mr. Scott?
It's called Venaris.
Venaris, right?
Yes, sir.
So let's just rewind, right?
Okay.
And I'm a part of these brothers' organization.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I'm Nakamaya. So when having this discussion, right? What caused for this conversation to come about?
Well, I was on Facebook and then I replied to something that brother what was his name? That does the martial arts. I forgot his name. I've known him for years. But anyway, I responded.
Yeah, he's talking about Bakan.
Yes. And then he wanted me to give a response, and I was like, it's too long to give a response to this. But since I have this podcast, Killer Crane Speaks On, I was like, if you guys want to talk about the whatever you guys want to, that's fine. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So excuse me for 1 second, gentlemen. What are you looking for?
Sir. So what was the Yayar Kodam? What was the nature of the conversation? What was the reason for him? Who was trying to prove what? Like what was the nature of the conversation?
Close the door, please. Thank you. Let me look it on Facebook right quick so I can give an accurate description. What are you looking for?
Well, I was specifically referring to like when y'all interacted outside of you.
Go ahead and talk to the brothers.
Okay. Let me look up the exact post because it was something about God or so. To be honest, I communicate with tons of people. I have thousands of followers. So let me look it up right quick.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and explain.
Yeah.
What exactly are we supposed to be proving here?
We're proving that our God exists.
Okay, and what is he's proving?
I don't have a point. Like I said before, as an atheist, is one who does not accept the I guess the existence of a deity based on. It can be they have not been convinced. That means they have not been presented evidence. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean that I reject it. A lot of people think where an atheist says there is no God, you can't prove that a God exists. That's wrong. It's one who just has not accepted based on not having enough information. If there is any information to support it, you know what I'm saying? So
okay. So from what I've heard so far, everything they presented, you just said, oh, well, you discredit the source, right? You just tried to discredit the source regardless of the prophecy given in Daniel 9. So regardless of who wrote it, how it came about, similar to what the brother Yayar said, somebody wrote 600 years ago, right? Well, 600 years from the time of their prophecy. So 2,500 years ago, right? Roughly. Somebody wrote that some would happen at a specific date and time from the time that it will start, right?
Mm.
So what
I can't.
these young hold on real
I'm
quick.
sorry.
So what these young brothers are trying to show is we can show you pinpoint prophecy of something happening specifically from whoever this person, whoever wrote whatever, right? They pinpoint a specific prophecy dated back at a specific period of time, and we can prove that the person existed during that time. If that's the case, we don't need to 20 another 100 years from now, we don't need to know about Martin Luther King, or if we don't need to know about Abraham Lincoln or any of the George Washington. It's immediate history like that we don't even need to know about if we're going to discredit all of the sources that put all of these people at these different places.
Well, we have
Does it make sense?
videotape though. We have pictures, and we have all this.
You don't have videotape of George Washington. You don't have videotape of George Washington.
We have George Washington's body. We have plenty of people, government officials who lived at that time, which we can independently verify. So we have a plethora of evidence that George Washington existed. So
you got Alexander the Greek's body.
Right.
No. I don't. Like I said. Okay.
Hold on.
The website that he gave me.
Mr. Scott. Hold on. What? Slow down. I just want you to answer the question directly before you go on your rant.
Okay.
Do you have evidence of Alexander the Greek's body?
Nope. We're getting back to Socrates' argument.
No, it's not a Socrates argument because he lived during a certain period of time. He lived after the people that you are trying to discredit, but yet we don't have his body.
Okay. And you get back to that website that says that he talked to Daniel, and
I'm not talking about a website. We're talking about Alexander.
Okay. Right? So Alexander. Okay.
Alexander.
So this is the claim.
Do you believe? Hold on. Do you believe that Alexander the Greek existed?
I think that there are other sources other than the people he went to war with. I think that there's other historical evidence that points to the fact that there was a character named Alexander the Great that existed.
But we don't need his body though, right?
No, the body is not the smoking gun. I didn't.
Okay, hold on. Okay, cool, Mr. Scott. That means you have to take that off the table for Daniel, correct?
No, I did not say that. If we have other historical sources,
Mr. Scott, hold on, slow down.
Okay,
please answer the questions directly, right?
Okay.
So, I don't need a body for Alexander because of the historical evidence and overwhelming majority of people that was around him that was able to attest that he lived, correct?
Yes.
But yet you use the argument of where these people body as if we actually buried the bodies during that time. We actually took the bones out of the bodies and buried the bones, right?
Sir, I use that as an example.
Mr. Scott, hold on.
I use that as an example. No, because you're taking that as a smoking gun. I didn't say the bodies are
use it as a smoking gun, though.
No. I said you start from there. You start from physical evidence, and then you work your way up, and then you.
Okay, cool.
Further we get away from that,
do we have any physical evidence? We have any physical evidence of anybody during that time?
Right.
Of anybody during that time?
Anybody during that time?
Who are you referring to?
I'm talking about
emperors who lived during that time. Did we have?
No. I'm saying name a person's body do we have that we can go analyze and see that this person existed in 300 BC.
300 BC. There may be I don't have the information right now, but we do have bodies of people, and we do have tombs, and we have DNA that we can dig up. Yes, we can.
Okay, yes. Cool. So what we're trying to show is how when it's unfair to try to use something in one sense and not use that same measurement with other sense, not knowing the people's custom and culture in which they buried the people. We didn't bury people based on the whole body being mummified, similar to what Egypt did. We literally took the bones from the body and put them in the grave. So there's no physical bodily evidence of anybody in any Jewish culture that you want to say, because that's not the way we buried our people, for one. Okay. Two, you cannot use that because it's people later in time that you believe existed due to the witnesses around being around them. Although we're showing many witnesses that attest that Daniel existed,
No,
right?
you haven't. Not yet.
But it's cool.
You haven't
To fight
shown any
the-
other witnesses.
Hold on. Every nation till this day, Muslims and Christians included, which is over billions of people that go off the same sources that we read from, the Masoretic text, the Greek Septuagint, the Dead Sea Scrolls, all of these things that we see that are actual textual evidence that
Nope.
these people wrote books. And so the Masoretic text don't exist.
Okay, they are books that exist. They are mythological books. They are not historical books. They are
How
not
are they
written-
mythological books when
They're not
Alexander?
historical
Hold on, Scott. Alexander is literally in the Bible, but yet you believe him. Okay, so how is that not historical?
No, New York City is in Spider-Man comic books. Therefore, Spider-Man existed.
Do you believe in Alexander the Greek, bro? Yes or no?
I believe that there is evidence to support the fact that there was a historical Alexander the Great. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, we have historical evidence that Alexander actually enslaved the people that wrote the Bible.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
how
I don't need
is
that
this?
information.
How is read the Book of Maccabees?
No, I cannot use the Bible to support biblical answers.
That's not
That's circular logic.
because it's in the Bible. Don't make it not a historical source, my guy.
Yes, yeah, it is not a book of history. It is not a book of history. It's going to what does the old folks say? Every clock is right at least twice a day.
So and this is why I said in the
4 o'clock
comment,
a.m. and 4
Quadam,
o'clock p.m. So no, you
Quadam.
cannot. There are a lot of things the Bible gets wrong. So
Hold
even
on,
if you
hold
find
on,
one
Mr.
part
Scott.
that's wrong, then you can't use the whole book.
Scott.
Hold on, Mr.
Scott.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. And Equidom, this is why you got to choose your battles wisely, because this is literally the Charleston White of the Bible. He's just going to reject everything, even though there's many scholars,
They're condescending,
atheist
right?
scholars. There are atheist scholars who literally would debunk everything this man is saying. Zondervan being one of them. So what we're trying to show is this is a pointless conversation if this man is just
Because I
going
won't
to say,
accept what,
"Oh no,"
what
at this
he
time
says.
he's using the same points that any atheist will use, and there's a minority of them people that actually exist that are actually scholastic. So when we look at
Use a condescending
the actual
term, sir.
historical
Can we be
records
professional?
in which
Can
we get these things
without being
from,
insulting,
and it's
can we have a
overwhelming
professional?
majority of the
Can we
people
be professional?
that's looking at different sources.
Can we be
Because
professional?
for an
Can we be
example, we was
professional?
looking
Not
at
insulting. Can we be
the brother Billy
professional?
Carson yesterday, right?
Can we be
And the
professional?
Edomite actually showed how the Bible wasn't compiled into a certain period of time as far as all of the books, and it's being called the Bible. If he was scholastic enough and genius enough to understand it,
Okay.
he would know that there are different portions of the Bible used at
If I
different
was
sources
scholastic
in
enough,
order to compile all of this
if
together.
I was scholastic
So
enough.
you trying to
There-
discredit all of that,
Y'all hear
it
this, right?
makes no sense. So now let's go on the other side, right? Let's take the Bible away from you. How do you believe? Do you believe in the evolution story?
The evolution is a proven fact. It is, but it is,
Okay.
it is
When
proven.
did
It is proven by
Scott,
the archaeology, the bones, and
Scott,
the
hold
DNA.
on? I didn't ask all of that, Scott. You gotta chill, bro.
There is no evolution story.
Scott,
It is
chill.
science.
Scott, chill.
How about you
I'm
chill?
asking
then?
a
How
question.
about you chill? You're the one breaking
Scott,
me
I'm
up.
asking a
You're
question.
asking me a question. I let that brother go
because
on
I
10
didn't
minutes
ask for
to
everything
explain the
else.
story, and you won't let me explain my point of view. Okay?
Because I didn't ask all of that, Scott.
Okay, I didn't ask
So,
all his
Scott,
questions. So whatever. You know.
Okay, you came on his platform yapping. And
No.
somebody else commented.
No. Actually, I invited you guys on my podcast, and I've not muted you once. So you
Okay,
guys
so-
are on my podcast, okay?
Okay,
So
okay, Scott.
that's what that brother. He was supposed to be the one who was on my podcast.
Okay, Scott. So check this out. When did the evolution story become concrete?
God, the evolution story. This is just. Do you know how evolution works?
Okay.
I don't know how it works. It goes back all the way to
When did the theory of the evolution actually exist, Scott? Please, can you answer that question? What year did it come into play?
It is a ridiculous way that you're putting this. Like the evolution
We
did not
can't get a
begin
date.
like the
We can't get a
Bible
date,
where you
Scott.
have Adam and Eve. It is a progressive thing from
Scott. When did we learn about the evolution? Can you give me a date, please? I can.
Okay.
Can you give me a date?
Okay. Are you talking about Charles Darwin and the evolution, the theory of evolution, and the origin of species by Charles Darwin?
Yeah.
Are you referring to that book? He was the first one to
year is
propose that. However, we
that?
have progressed past that.
Can we get
there
a
is
date?
date.
Can we get a date?
A date.
Now, see, he can't answer no questions.
You can't answer a story. What if I said, what do you drive a
When
car
did that
named
man
Peter
that you
Peter?
just
It
named
makes no
existed?
sense.
I don't want to put any words in your mouth. What year?
The evolution story. You need to retrace what you said or
I'm not
rephrase what you
retracing nothing,
said.
brother. Scott, can you answer the question, please? You can use Google. He's been using Google the whole time. Can you let us know when did he actually
Evolution
produce
is not a
this?
story. Rephrase your question first. Rephrase.
No.
We just want a date, brother.
Can you give us a date?
The theory of evolution. When was it first described? I mean, okay. I don't know how to answer your question.
He don't know.
No.
Can you give us a date of when that man existed?
Charles Darwin?
Yes.
He was in the 1800s, but I do not have a specific date. No, I do not.
Okay, all praises. That's all you had to say from the first point, right? But either way, in the 1800s, we believe life itself, based off a person that came 1800 years after Christ even existed. But let's take Christ away from it. Since the creation of human beings, we wait to 1800 years later to understand the creation story, and everybody else back then don't know what they're talking about. Now, Scott, what year did the math come out in order to prove the age of the earth?
What year did it come out?
Did the mathematical equation in order to determine the age of the earth, what year did they come out?
I don't know what the first proposed age of the earth came out, but I do know that we have improved and gotten more and more evidence through astrophysics on the age of the earth. So
can we get the math? Can we get the math of the system that they use in order to date the earth? Can you just say no?
No, I can tell you. We look at the sediment.
What year?
We look at the expansion of the universe. We look at the hold on, stop.
No, Scott. I said, what year did the math come out? What year?
What year? Okay. There are several years. I don't know when the first.
It's not several years. It's not several years.
Yes, it is. There was an initial individuals who came up and proposed the age of the earth, and then a lot of people improved.
By what method? By what method? What's the name of the methodology?
What's the name of the methodology?
Yes.
I mean, you have geology, you have astrophysics.
Oh my God, this man is not a scholar, bro.
Okay. What is the method? What is the method? What is the method? And I don't appreciate the concept.
This is what we're talking about. And Quadon, this is why I just came on. It ain't no point in talking to dude. He believes in something that came. He don't even know the dates.
I don't have to know the date. I don't know the date when George Washington was born.
When a woman decided to understand the decay of rocks, and that's how they determined the earth. In 1959, my granddad was born in 1946.
The age of the earth, sir?
I just want y'all to know.
Okay, you tell me, how did they?
My granddad was born in 1946.
Okay,
it was a man who came
well before then, sir.
14 years after him.
No,
right,
sir.
15 years after him. In 1959, we get a man to tell us that the earth is 4.5 million years old.
Okay.
That's the age of the earth, right? That they said.
Okay, that was the first thing.
They said million, right?
Yeah,
4.5 million years old.
And
based off a mathematical equation that was approved in 1898.
Okay.
But yet he don't know any of this information and don't know the name of the method in which they use in order to date the earth.
Really?
But yet this is truth for him.
No, I don't
and
know
this
everything.
is solid
so
evidence
therefore, I
when
can't
you
pay
can't
attention to
even
anything
get
that I
all of the
say.
carbon to be able to measure the things of the earth.
So I don't know
So this,
everything.
this,
so therefore,
this,
do you know everything? Do you know everything? Do you know
I know more
everything
than your
about
ass.
astrophysics?
Sure.
Do you know
I know-
everything
I
about
know-
abiogenesis?
went-
Do you know everything about the theory of evolution?
What's
Do you
what's
know
your highest
everything
level?
about everything?
What's your
What are
highest
you
level of
doing up?
education?
So
What's your
therefore,
high-
am I not supposed to listen
Scott,
to you?
Scott, what's
See,
your
I
highest
just
level
want
of
people to
education?
see how
You,
rude
Scott,
and
you, Scott,
ignorant
you,
the
Scott,
power are
you,
being.
Scott, you, Scott,
Now,
you, Scott.
hey,
So
sir,
we don't even
sir,
know this
I can
man
do this too.
major.
this
We
is
don't
my
know what he
podcast.
went through.
you
But
can be rude, I
you
can
know
be
for a
rude.
fact I went to college, right?
I went to college too,
Okay,
sir.
so you know that I had to take physics, I had to take chemistry on a collegiate level.
I did had two as
But,
well.
well, the brother Maratazai, he literally goes to the school and can ask all of the teachers as far as my performance in the class. He can ask them if they still there,
Irrelevant.
right? But I know
Irrelevant.
Synopsis is still
Irrelevant.
there, so he for sure can ask her because that was my direct
Irrelevant, sir.
advisor, right?
Let's
When we looking at
pull
this,
up links.
this is just
Let's
basic
pull up
information
links.
I actually learned in
Let's pull up
elementary.
links instead
about
of
the
arguing back
evolution
and forth
story,
on
right?
who knows what.
I later
and
on
then if
found
you're a
out
quiz question.
different
How about we go up here and
methodologies
we pull up
through,
links? We pull up links.
chemistry
sir.
classes, physics, and all of these classes that we're required to take in order to get the electrical engineering degree.
Okay, that's
He can't
beyond
tell
the
me
point. Can we
how
pull up
in
links?
1959
Give me a question. Give me a
these
question.
people use carbon dating in order to
It's just
tell
not
us
carbon dating.
the determining factor of the earth. Now,
No,
think
they
about how
don't.
this sound, y'all, right?
Not just
Now,
carbon dating, sir.
Let's think about how this sound.
Sediment
They
of
said
rock.
they found
We use so
the
many other
math
methods.
based on the decaying of a rock. How fast do y'all think a rock age? I just want to know how fast do you think a rock age?
You know what? I think I can settle all these. Next week, I'll bring on an expert who is an actual scientist. He will be brought in.
All
He will
praises.
answer these questions.
All
And
praises.
or how about this? We get the questions ahead of time so we can Google them. Because right now we're just shouting at each other. We're not getting
No. I don't need the questions
you
ahead
can
of
say
time.
something.
Just
You can
ask the
say it's
question and
wrong.
we
I can say
fact
it's
check.
right. We don't know what it is if we're not pulling up links. If we're not supporting each other.
You
So
pulled up every link and you just try to discredit them and say, "Oh, well, I will have to look at them later. Oh, I will have stuff run down. Or I will do this and I will
yes,
do
that's
that."
the way it
Oh,
goes, brother.
based on
We
this,
don't accept
it's
stuff
just
on
like
faith.
Spider-Man,
That's
bro.
what
You
religious
just
people do.
literally contrarian. You contrary to everything that these brothers try to pull out.
Yes.
They was pulling up sources the whole time, but yet you couldn't
No,
tell me
they
when
didn't. They
Charles
pull up the
Darwin.
source from a Christian website, which is
Right,
not true.
you
I can
couldn't
pull
tell
up
me
from
when
a
Charles Darwin
Scientologist
brought out the
website.
theory
That
that
don't mean
you
it's right.
base your life off.
That don't mean it's right. you guys.
That don't mean Charles Darwin was
You
right.
have
That
to-
don't mean the nigga
There
that
was a
came out in
number of things that he said that
1959
was
was right.
wrong, but we improved on his stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. You even said that the brother could use said source.
I didn't
And
say
try to
he could. I said that he could read from that source. I didn't say I accept it. He can use whatever he wants to. He can use Spider-Man comic book. I don't think Spider-Man comic. I was just being nice.
Scott, are you able to disprove said source?
The
Are you
burden
able-
of proof is on the person making the claim. It is nobody's job to disprove what somebody has proclaimed.
Hold on. His source went with what he was already saying. He put it all together. You now have to say, okay, and this makes sense. Okay, I see what you're talking about. And or you have to come with a dissertation on the other side. We need one or the other.
Okay.
Like yeah. This what he did, bro. Bro
Okay,
proved
okay.
this point. Bro proved this point with a source, right? Yeah.
No, he
I'm looking
didn't.
at your
No, he
house
didn't.
behind you.
No, he didn't. That
Hold
was
on,
not a source.
Scott, please be quiet. Please be quiet.
Okay.
So, that's just like me saying, well, I don't know if the door behind you is made of wood because I didn't see it made. So therefore, we're just gonna discredit that. And
No.
because you painted it and you put a doorknob on it, they drilled a hole in it in order for you to put the
Right.
doorknob on. So therefore, I'm not gonna believe that door is actually made of wood.
No.
I didn't see who made it.
You see what I'm saying? I didn't see who made it. So therefore, that's my that. So therefore, you can't prove that door is made of
Why?
wood.
See, you guys
see what I'm
think that
saying?
they're muting me, right? You guys, and you're muting me, And you
Yeah, we want to talk to the scientists, Scott. We
Okay,
don't want to
okay,
talk to
okay.
you.
This is supposed to be. Oh, I see why y'all wanted to share this screen and not be on my podcast, so y'all can mute me when I'm trying to make a point. So whatever y'all want to. Y'all being condescending, y'all being rude. We're not being professional.
Don't do that.
No, and then your sources are unjustified. Oh my God!
You
This is not
can't
a
prove that they're
professional
not
talk. This is
justified,
not a
Scott.
professional talk.
Come on, Scott.
Scott, you can't prove
Come
that
on,
they're not
y'all.
justified.
Come on, y'all. Y'all are not being logical.
Scott,
You don't know
Scott,
about logical fallacies. Y'all don't know
Scott.
how to make a constructive
He
syllogism.
didn't.
Y'all
Scott,
do not,
you
y'all
can't-
do unfair equivocation.
Scott,
Y'all
Scott.
are just totally all over the place and being rude and condescending. Y'all are not being professional at all. And then y'all throwing out
Scott.
points that make no sense. No
Scott.
sense. My
Scott.
God.
Scott,
Look.
you didn't disprove the source. You just
Yeah,
said I would have to look into it.
The plane, dumbass. Come on. Let's do it.
Oh,
now.
Now we can get on that. Now we can get